So another massive cyber attack has happened, and this time it has taken down the Florida court system. It has targeted the Florida court system and also dozens of universities in Florida and the US and throughout Europe. Also, a major chip manufacturer that makes semiconductors has been cyber attacked and their production facilities have been shut down as well. All right, this keeps accelerating. I reported yesterday how Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, SunTrust Bank, Fox News, all these top organizations were hit with a massive DDoS attack at the same time as well. YouTube was reporting error 429, which indicates a DDoS attack on their servers. And we can see here, this is a bigger agenda. All right, we will get into the details of everything in just a second, but this is critical because a internet kill switch has already been put in place. This article that I'm showing is from 2012, all right? 2012, Obama signs order outlining emergency internet control. New executive order addresses how the country deals with the internet during natural disasters and security emergencies, but it also puts a lot of power in the government's hand. And it says, this act, the order was designed to empower certain government agencies with control over telecommunications and the web during natural disasters and security emergencies. So they already have a internet kill switch in place, and they can take over the internet and communications at any time, especially if there is a massive cyber attack on our banking institutions or our telecommunications and there are mass outages. We could see the government take over, and it's know that this infrastructure is already in place and they could implement it at any time for any reason and shut down our grid at any time and take it over. And I put this little quote here because I love this quote, all right? Because this is coming, all right? This quote's from 2020. So all these things are past due. It's 2023. We are on pace for Agenda 2030. That is the agenda number that they are always putting out. But this quote from Schwab here too, all right? A comprehensive cyber attack could bring a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, our society as a whole. And says what we've seen in the past few years would be seen in respect as a, quote, small disturbance. This is from 2020, and we're going to see big stuff like this more and more cyber attacks and more vandalism and attacks on infrastructure as well too. So let's get into these details of the Florida court system, and then we will get into the microchip and semiconductor manufacturer that has also been hit, and their production facilities are offline, and very suspicious timing of that as well. We will also talk about why that's suspicious. You can see here, Florida state court system, US, EU, universities hit by ransomware outbreak. This was reported by Reuters, and this went all the way up to the Florida Supreme Court. It says a global ransomware outbreak has scrambled servers belonging to the Florida Supreme Court and several universities in the United States and Europe, according to a Reuters analysis of ransom notes posted online to stricken servers. What happens when this is the grid? A nuclear power company was already cyber attacked last week in Canada as well and was affecting operations there. So this is something that is accelerating, and this Florida court system and these universities, this was part of a global cyber attack that I actually reported on a couple days ago. You probably reported on how Italy had a mass blackout, and then also the US, Canada, France, they were all hit. Thousands and thousands of servers were hit globally all at the same exact time and knocked tons of companies, organizations, tons of cloud computing offline. And the Florida court system was one of these systems that was affected by this global outbreak, all right? And this affected hundreds of millions of people. The whole entire country of Italy was offline, all right? That's, I believe, 70 million people around just there, right? And then there was thousands of servers worldwide that were hit too. So there were tons of people, tons of businesses affected and taken offline from this massive global cyber attack. And then yesterday, this was a couple days ago, and then there's been a ton of activity. And then yesterday, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Fox News, all these top companies, SunTrust Bank, were hit with a massive cyber attack at the same exact time, approximately around 5:22 p.m. to 5:26 p.m. That's when a lot of them were happening. It showed on the data, right? Also, a massive chip manufacturer has been hit as well. I believe this was in Massachusetts. Ransomware attack disrupts operations at MKS Instruments. Semiconductor equipment maker says it is investigating the impact of the incident, and they have taken production facilities offline. So semiconductor equipment manufacturer told federal regulators it is temporarily suspending operations at some facilities after experiencing a ransomware attack last week. All right, so this is all happening at the same time. All these companies are getting hit, and they were probably all exploiting the same thing to access their servers and get inside and shut down these companies. What can this do to our banking? What can this do to the supply chain? What happens when we just wake up one day and you're just locked out of your bank, you're locked out of your phone, you're locked out of all your everything you need to live in this digital age, all right? It just doesn't work. What happens when gas stations are cyber attacked and nobody can pump gas, all right? All their servers are down. This could hit critical infrastructure at any moment and could cause blackouts and chaos within society because we are so dependent on the internet, and it's all interconnected, and it's accessible from the other side of the planet. Or it's accessible domestically as well. These could be coming domestically as well. We're not exactly sure. There are allegations of some of the attacks, but a lot of them are very ambiguous, and it honestly could be false flag or domestic operations. And there also could be foreign motives for this as well, right? Semiconductors are critical, and China has recently been targeted for semiconductor production from the US and the G7 countries specifically. So back in October here, you can see that the US Commerce Department issued the much anticipated rules aimed at restricting China's ability to obtain advanced computing chips, develop and maintain supercomputers, and manufacture advanced semiconductors. So the US has been targeting China openly with sanctions. A couple months ago, it was a big deal because all of the employees that work in semiconductor production facilities, they had to choose between renouncing their U.S. citizenship and staying in China, or leaving China and only producing semiconductors in the U.S., right? They put a lot of pressure on China and shut down a lot of China's production capacity for semiconductors, supercomputers, which are critical for a war, which are critical for a 21st century economy. This is the future of everything. AI, all this stuff depends on these chips, right? All the advanced military hardware depends on these chips, and China has essentially been cut off from the rest of the world from producing them, all right? They've had a lot of pressure put on them. So was China hitting this manufacturer? All right, it's just a motive. It could be domestic, it could be anyone. All right, there are multiple countries, multiple foreign countries that have advanced cyber capabilities, and it could be any one of them. But it's just kind of suspicious. A couple months later, these semiconductor facilities are getting hit after China got hit as well. All right, and China probably considers this almost an act of war against them. All right, this is a very aggressive posture against China for semiconductors because they were one of the top producers in the world, if not the top, with Taiwan, and the U.S. has trying to cut them off from this production. Right. Also, hospitals have been getting hit. Right. This has kind of been swept under the rug, but there have been tons of hospitals across 25 different states in the past week that have also been hit with massive ransomware attacks. One of them was actually in Florida. So it was a Tallahassee hospital was hit. And you can see here allegedly KillNet DDoS attacks against U.S. hospitals downplay. Fewer than half of DDoS attacks launched by KillNet against U.S. healthcare providers across over 25 states last week have successfully disrupted hospital websites. And this Tallahassee one, they even shut down emergency operations. They shut down their emergency room, and they were diverting patients to other hospitals because they could not access their systems and they could not perform a lot of the procedures that they normally perform because they couldn't get into their internet systems, their IT systems, their logistics systems, their planning systems, all this stuff. Everything is computerized now. Everything's digital, and it's a vulnerability. All right, it's helpful. All right, it makes things easier, but we are moving into this new wave where they set up this infrastructure around us. They get us totally dependent on it. All right, just a way of life. You just have now. You bring your phone with you everywhere. It's just one of these things that's a way of life, but it's also a massive vulnerability and a backdoor, and they can use it against us at any moment. All right, so get prepared now, guys. We could see the economy start to get seriously affected from these cyber attacks. We could see the supply chain seriously affected. Just a couple weeks ago, over 1,000 ships were stranded at sea because their logistic and shipping software, coordination software with all the other companies was taken offline, and they couldn't figure out where to bring their ships. Right? This happened just a couple weeks ago. One of the biggest shipping companies in the world. We could seriously start seeing the supply chain affected, the economy affected. We could start seeing more shortages from this, more inflation from this, and you guys need to get prepared. All right, so make sure you're stocked up on food, water, gold, silver, copper, lead, all these great things you need to get stocked up on, and make sure you're hitting that like button, hitting that sub button, hitting that bell as well. All right, if you want to get notified for all my videos I'm posting, hit that bell, and also hit those comments down below. What are you doing to get prepared for the big one? Thank you guys so much, and you have a big old blessed day.